Morning everyone. In this video we will go through the various classification of vane pumps and piston pumps. In the previous videos we went through the gear pumps and basically the vane pumps are introduced to overcome the disadvantage of the small leakages due to gap between the gear teeth and the pump in housing. So this limitation is overcome by the vane pumps. So basic three types of vane pumps are there. First one is the unbalanced vane pump, second adjustable vane pump, and third balanced vane pump. So let us go through one by one. First one is unbalanced vane pump. In the practice, the vane pumps have more than one vanes. As you can see here, the yellow and red colored. The rotor is offset within the housing and the vanes are constrained by a cam ring as they cross the outlet and inlet ports. Although the vane tips are held against the housing, still a small amount of leakage exists between the rotor faces and body sides. The vanes compensate to large degree of wear at the vane tips or in the housing itself. The pressure difference between outlet and inlet ports create a large amount of load on the vanes and a significant amount of side load on the rotor shaft, which can lead to bearing failure. And this type of pump is called the unbalanced vane pump. You can see the figure. In this type of pump, the tip of the vanes are generating wear with the housing. So this will, after the practical application, after some time or after the working condition, this type of pumps may lead to small leakages. Second is the adjustable vane pump. The proper design of the pump is important and it is very challenging. So in ideal condition, the capacity of the pump should be kept exactly same to the load requirement. A pump with larger capacity will waste energy as the excessive fluid will pass through the pressure relief valve, and it is also lead to the rise in fluid temperature due to energy conversion. Therefore, it requires external cooling arrangement, and the higher capacity pumps increase the power consumption and makes the system bulky and costly. Pumps are generally available with certain standard capacities, and the user has to choose the next available capacity of the pump. The flow rate from the pump is in most hydraulic applications needs to be varying as per the requirement. Therefore, some vane pumps are also available with adjustable capacities that we can see in the figure. This can be achieved by adjusting the positional relation between the rotor and the inner casing with the help of external controlling screw. The discharge control screw, which you can see in the figure, that is the component which is responsible for generating adjustable positions of the rotor and inner casing. These pumps consist of a rotor, then vanes, a cam ring, then port plates, thrust bearing that guides the cam ring, and a discharge control screw by which the position of the cam ring relative to the rotor can be varied. So generally the adjustable vane pumps are unbalanced pump type. The amount of fluid that is displaced by a vane pump running at a constant speed is determined by the maximum extension of the vanes and the vane width. But for a pump running in operation, the width of the vanes cannot be changed, but the distance by which the vanes are extended can be varied. This is possible by making a provision for changing the position of the cam ring. As we can see, the discharge control screw is added here that will change the position of the cam ring that relative to the rotor. So the eccentricity of rotor with respect to the cam ring is adjusted by the movement of screw. The delivery volume increases with the increase in eccentricity, and this kind of arrangement can be used to achieve variable volumes from the pump and is known as variable displacement vent pump. The third and last type of vent pump is the balanced vent pump. As you can see that in this type of vent pump we are having two inlets and two outlets, and this figure shows the schematic diagram that you have to draw in the examination. This pump has an elliptical cam ring, and it is having two inlets and two outlets. Pressure loading still occurs in the vents, but the two identical pump halves create equal but opposite forces on the rotor. So due to that, the net force acting on the shaft and bearing becomes zero. So it is under completely balanced condition. So we can increase by a significant amount the lives of pump and the bearing, and also the sounds and vibrations are decreased in the running mode of the pump. This is known as the balanced vent pump. So these are the three types of vent pump, and in GTU you will find out the question that explain different types of vent pumps. So first you have to explain the basic concept, then you have to explain these three vent pumps briefly in 7 marks. Next is piston pumps. Piston pumps are generally meant to transfer the high pressure fluids in high pressure applications. These pumps have high efficiency, they are simple in design, and the maintenance is again very low as compared to the other pumps. These pumps generally convert the rotary movement into the reciprocating movement of piston, and these pumps will also work similar to the 4-stroke engine. We know the working condition of the 4-stroke engine, how it works. So the piston pumps basically works on the principle that a reciprocating piston draws the fluid inside the cylinder when the piston retracts in the cylinder bore and discharge the fluid when it extends. These pumps are positive displacement pump and can be used for both liquid and gas. If we classify the piston pumps, then they are having two types. First is the axial pumps, and second one radial pump. So let us go through various types of piston pumps. First one, axial piston pumps. Axial piston pumps are further divided, or they are having subtypes like bent axial piston pump and Swash plate axial piston pump. Axial piston pumps are again positive displacement type pumps, which converts the rotary motion of the shaft into the axial reciprocating motion of piston. These pumps have a number of pistons, and generally they are considered in odd numbers in a circular array within a housing, which is commonly referred to as a cylinder block, or cylinder block is also known as the rotor, and second word is the barrel. So if we go through the first one, that is bent axis piston pump, you can see the schematic diagram here in figure. In these pumps, the reciprocating action of the piston is obtained by bending the axis of the cylinder block. You can see that it is offset by angle theta. The drive shaft is offset by an angle theta. The cylinder block rotates at an angle which is inclined to the drive shaft. The cylinder block is turned by the drive shaft through a universal link. In the figure you can see the green colored link is known as the universal link. The cylinder block is set at an offset angle with the drive shaft. The cylinder block contains a number of pistons along its periphery, and generally they are in odd numbers. These piston rods are connected with the drive shaft flange, and they are connected by the ball and socket joint. The volumetric displacement of the pump is controlled by changing the offset angle. It makes the system simple and inexpensive. These pistons are forced in and out of their bores as the distance between the drive shaft flange and the cylinder block changes. A universal link is connecting the block to the drive shaft, and it provides the alignment and a positive drive. The discharge does not occur when the cylinder block is parallel to the drive shaft, and generally the offset angle for the drive shaft is kept in between 0 to 40 degree. So this is known as the bent axis piston pump. Next is the Swash plate axial piston pump. A swash plate is a device that translates the rotation motion of the shaft into the reciprocating motion. Basically, it consists of a disc that is attached to a shaft. You can find out in figure. A swash plate is attached to a shaft. If the disc is aligned perpendicular to the shaft, the disc will turn along with the rotating shaft without any reciprocating effect. So the angle, swash angle depends, the amount of fluid to be transferred depends on the swash angle. The edge of the inclined shaft will appear to oscillate along the shaft length, and this apparent linear motion will increase with increase in the angle between the disc and the shaft, that offset angle, and it is also known as the swash angle. In the swash plate axial pump, a series of pistons are aligned coaxially with a shaft through a swash plate to a pump fluid. The schematic diagram you can see here. One displacement piston is added to adjust the swash angle, that you can find out in the black colored schematic diagram. And due to that, the piston stroke can be adjusted, and the figure is also showing the maximum piston stroke. The axial reciprocating motion of the piston is obtained by a swash plate that is either fixed or has a variable degree of angle. That angle is swash angle. As the piston barrel assembly rotates, the piston rotates around the shaft with the piston shoe in the contact with the swash plate. The piston shoes follow the angled surface of the swash plate, and the rotational motion of the shaft is converted into the reciprocating motion of the piston. This reciprocating motion results in the drawing in and pumping out of the fluid. Pump capacity that can be controlled by varying the swash plate angle with the help of a separate hydraulic cylinder that you can find out the displacement piston. The pump capacity increases with the increase in swash plate angle. So obviously, if the swash plate is perpendicular to the shaft, then we will get the minimum amount of discharge, and when the angle is increased, the discharge will also increase. Next type of piston pump is the radial piston pumps. The typical radial piston pump is shown in the figure. That includes various types of components like cylinder block, then a pintle with the outlet and inlet, then various pistons. It is arranged in the array manner, circular array manner. Then one cylinder block is there, a casing is required. The piston pump has pistons that is radially aligned in the cylinder block, and as we have already went through, it consists of a pintle, then cylinder block, and it will rotate in a reaction ring. The pintle directs the fluid in and out of the cylinder, and the pistons are placed in radial bores around the rotor. The piston shoes ride on the eccentric ring, which causes them to reciprocate as they rotate. The eccentricity determines the stroke of the pumping piston. Each piston is connected to inlet port when it starts extending, while it is connected to the outlet port when start retracting. This connection to the inlet and outlet port is generally performed by the timed porting arrangement, and this arrangement is generally kept in the pintle. As the cylinder barrel rotates, the pistons on one side travels outwards, and the piston on the other side of the barrel will travel inwards. The outward movement of the piston will draw the fluid inside the cylinder, and the inward movement of the piston will throw the fluid outside of the cylinder. So due to maximum eccentricity of the piston, we can get the maximum output, and this forced fluid will flow out of the cylinder, and it will enter in the discharge port. So this is known as the radial piston port. Basically, it depends on the eccentricity of the cylinder block with the pintle. And the basic concept is very simple. If the piston is drawn outwards, then the fluid is sucked inside the cylinder, and if the piston is moving inwards, then the fluid will flow out of the cylinder. In this way, the radial piston pump works. So after watching this video, you have to complete this task. You have to write down 2 questions. First one is explain classification of vane pumps, and you have to draw all the figures. And second question is you have to explain various piston pumps. Both these questions are very important regarding the university examination. So complete this task and submit on Google Classroom. Hope you have enjoyed this video. Thank you.